Here we go. All right, welcome everybody. My name is Lewis. I am a librarian at the Belglade Branch Library. Thank you so much for joining us. Today is how to repair and colorize your old photos. You might have some photos that have just been kind of deteriorating a little bit in your photo albums, or maybe they're by the window and the sun got exposed to them. And what I'm going to show you right here, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, minimize that. So here's a great example. This is my supervisor, Missy, when back in 1969 in July, as you can tell, must be 4th of July, I'm assuming. And this photo was by a window in her office, and it got exposed to the sunlight. The colors completely washed out.
My computer. And I said, "No, I thought that was you."
You thought it was me?
Just kidding.
No, I had an afro at that age. Because I have very curly hair. I got to keep it short. Otherwise, it just poofs out into an afro. So I'm going to show you how you can take it from this and turn it into something like that. This I did today in about 2 hours. I had my own way of restoring photos that I thought was decent, but then I watched another video and saw the techniques that they used, and I was like, oh, this is completely better. And once you see this up close and in detail, you'll see it's really not that impressive. It's just that when you zoom out and you have it to its normal size, the details look really great. So let's go ahead and get started with that. And I'm going to move this chat thingy off to the right here. And Lizzie says she has an old version of CS5. Okay. Let me see. You know what? I'm going to close out the chat. So if you guys have any questions, please go ahead and just use, turn on your microphone rather, just because it's kind of blocking my view. I want to make sure I can access everything. All right. So let's say you come to the library and you use our scanner or the SnapScan scanner, and you want to go ahead and scan this at the highest resolution possible. Because if you ever want to enlarge it, stretch it out or anything like that, you want it to be as detailed as possible. You want to make sure you maintain as much clarity as possible. So once you do that, over here on the right-hand side, for those of you who have never played with Photoshop before, Photoshop, one of the great things about it is that you can work with images in layers. So on the right-hand side, you'll see it says on the bottom right corner where it says background. Okay, that is our first layer. And in order to make any changes to it, what I want to do is I want to duplicate this. I don't want to mess with the original. I want to go ahead and make a copy of this. So if I right click on that layer, the first option over here says duplicate layer. That's what I want to do. And it's going to ask you, what name do you want to give it? I'm going to call this restoration layer, just to keep it simple. All right, so that way, no matter what we do, the original one is not going to be affected. And as you can notice here, on the left-hand side, you have a little menu that you could play with. And we have a little icon that looks like a magnifying glass. So if you go ahead and click on that, and actually, first, before I do that, I'm sorry, you'll notice that when I scan it, it wasn't perfectly squared and everything. It's kind of tilted off to the right. So if you want to fix that first, over here at the very top, you have, let's see, you go down to edit, and then you go to transform, and we're going to go to rotate. You notice that you have like these little squares that appear in all four corners of this image. And my mouse, the arrow goes from an arrow, but if I go to the corner, it looks like an arrow that's kind of curved. That means it's ready for you to go ahead and turn it and rotate it any way you want. So I'm just going to make it just right. There we go. Good. And then to save those changes, you have to enter or return on your keyboard. Now, this border that we have, so it's totally up to you how you want your photo to look. If you want to keep a white border around it, you can totally do that, or you can go ahead and crop it out. If you want to crop it out, on the left-hand corner, you have your little crop tool here. By the way, if you don't know what any of these buttons mean, all you have to do is just keep your mouse on it for a few seconds, and a little box will pop up and it'll tell you, oh, this is the crop tool. Okay, so if I click on that, you'll see these little corners suddenly show up, and then I can just bring it down to right there. And that way I don't have the border anymore, and then hit enter, pow. But I kind of like the border. So I'm going to hit Command Z. That on the keyboard, that's a shortcut to undo the last thing that you just did. If you have a regular PC and you have Photoshop on a PC, it would be CTRL, Control Z. But for a Mac, it's Command Z. That's the one that looks like a 4-leaf clover. All right, so what I would like to do is, over here in the left-hand corner, we have this little square marquee, and I'm gonna select the main part of the photo. Okay, so right now the selection is just around the photo, but I want to flip it. I want to select that entire border that's around it. So right over here at the very top, this little menu option here, you go to select, and then you go to inverse. So what that means, it's no longer, if you notice, there's a dotted line on the outer border and the inner border. So only part is selected is this white part that we want to improve. Now, just to keep it simple, I'm going to fill this with white. So if I go to edit, fill, and yep, I could just leave it as white. Pow, there you go. Now to make those dotted lines go away, you can hit Command D for deselect, or you can go to select and then hit select, deselect right there. And if you notice to the right of that, it even shows you the little shortcut that's on your keyboard. So it's the 4-leaf clover, the Command button, and D as in David. Pow. So now the dotted line is gone. So now it's went from curve to straight up and down, and we fixed the border instantly. Okay, now we have these other little problems over here, which is a great example. We have a little tear in the photo over here in the right-hand corner. On the bottom right-hand corner, there's like a little crease. Upper left-hand corner, there's creases all over the tree and the American flag. So if I go in the bottom left corner where the magnifying glass is, the zoom tool, and I want to zoom in on that area right there. Okay, where that tear is. Okay, I'm gonna teach you a fun little trick here. I don't know if this is on Elements. I don't think it is, but I could be wrong. If anybody who's really familiar with Elements, could you tell me, is there a patch tool option on there? Don't know.
No, I haven't used mine in a long time, so I don't
No
know.
worries. Okay, so on the left-hand side, you have this little, it looks like a patch, like a sewing patch you would put like on the elbow of a suit or something like that. If you don't see it right away, keep your finger down on the left button and you'll see all these wonderful little options over here. You have a healing button, brush tool, content aware move tool, red eye tool. I'm not playing with any of those. The only one I want to focus on right now is the patch tool. And so what you do is you draw around the area that you want to fix. Like that. Doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. And then you're going to kind of move it towards an area that has a similar texture to what's supposed to be there. And then you let go. Now to deselect, remember the shortcut is Command D for deselect, or you can go to select, deselect. Pow, just like that. That little option that little hole is fixed. So let me kind of zoom out a little bit. There we go. So if I go to edit, undo, there we go. So went from that to edit, redo, pow, very easy. Took a few seconds. Now, another option you could do is if for whatever reason, let's say you don't have enough space to do the patch tool and you just, you have a very limited space to play with, you have something called the clone stamp right here. It kind of looks like, a rubber stamp like we have in the library, the old fashioned one with the little handle on it. So if you click on that, okay, right now that little circle is really small. So what I'm going to do is on the upper left-hand corner, you have this little drop-down menu. And I'm going to make the size of my stamp larger. So it was at 15. Let's try, I don't know, 60. There we go. That's a good size. All right. So we have these little creases here, right? So in order to take a sample where the circle is right now and paste it right on top, you're going to keep your finger on the Option button. Watch what happens. See how it looks like a crosshairs, like on a sniper gun or something? If I tap on that and then I click with my mouse, it takes a sample of that. And then I come over here and click over it and just keep doing that over and over again. Allows me to fix all those little problem areas. Okay, and I could do the same thing for these up here. And again, this is called the clone stamp. So basically you're taking a sample from one section and just kind of pasting over it. Okay, any questions about what I did so far? Now, sometimes if you take a sample, like say right here, you can click and then just drag it across. But if you do it for too long, that happens. So I just take like one little piece at a time and just click, sample, and then let go of the option button and click. Now zoom out, let's see how it's looking. Here we go. Not too bad, not too bad. All right, now we have this big monstrosity down here at the bottom right-hand corner. Now I want to do this as quickly as possible, so it's not going to be 100% perfect, but I'm going to go back to the patch tool. I'm going to make an imperfect circle around it. There we go. And I'm just going to kind of drag, maybe the opposite direction. There you go. Then let go, deselect. Pow. Pretty easy, huh? It's always easy when you know how to do it. And if I'm being terribly honest, I just learned about this earlier today. The way that I used to do it before was much harder by comparison. There you go. Deselect, pow, that was easy. And now we have all these little spots that we need to fix right over here. As you can see, this you can spend quite a long time just doing little fixes like this. How we doing? Everybody good?
What version are you using?
What version of this Photoshop? That is a great question. Let's find out, shall we? This is Photoshop 2020.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's zoom, go up, go up, go up. All right, we have all these little problem areas too. Okay. This one's gonna be a little bit tricky because we have multiple objects here. And so I'll do like the easy ones first and then get into the flag itself because it's a little tricky because you have the stripes to deal with. Go. And I'm just, once I select it, I'm just clicking and dragging that area away and then deselecting. Okay, so oops. Just the white area. I hope. Yes, good.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it just, gosh, the programming it must have taken to create this. I can't imagine how difficult this must have been. And this one, maybe I'll do like a bone stamp or something. Well, let's see if the patch will work with this one. All right, excellent.
And yeah, I've never used the patch. I've tried to do that with the healing tool, and it's not nearly as easy.
What is your experience with the healing tool? Does it work pretty good, pretty easy like this?
No. Like sometimes it does, but not. It's not as consistent.
Gotcha.
So now I'm glad I know what that patch is. I've just never tried it.
Yeah. I have a brother that is a professional graphic art designer, and anything I do, he just kind of snubs his nose at me. He's like, that's easy, that's elementary. Like, well, I'm sorry, I didn't rack up $40,000 at the Art Institute. I went to the school of YouTube, and for about 15 minutes, just doing the best I can. There we go. Nice. There you go. Deselect. All right, so you get the idea. I'm not going to waste the whole class just working on that. Okay, and zoom out a little bit more. There we go. All right, so now what we want to do is...
Well, let me ask a question now.
Yes.
How are you going to restore that flag when you got that crease right through the flag? Is it the same way?
Yes, you can do exactly the same way. So, okay, here, I might as well go ahead and continue.
I mean, is it going to wipe out some of the red stripes?
Well, we're going to restore the color of all the stripes afterwards. What I'm trying to do
okay,
is try to heal
okay.
as much as I can. The only thing is that it's time consuming, and I'd hate for you guys
Okay,
to.
okay, I get it now if you're gonna restore.
But yeah, so here, let me see if I can fix some of these stripes over here. There we go. And then I'll come down here. See, when I'm dragging it to something
Oh.
that's similar. You see that?
Yeah,
And then deselect. So
Got it.
I'm doing the same thing here. I'm only selecting the red area. And then I'm dragging it down to another part that's red and then letting go. See that?
okay, good, good, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, it's a very valid question. It's so tricky. And deselect. There we go. And I'm gonna do that one. There you go. I know I'm ridiculously a perfectionist, and so I can literally spend at least 5 hours just doing this by itself. But I want you guys to actually learn something other than just patching. Okay, so once you've done as much healing as you think you can do, I'm gonna zoom out just a touch. Here we go. What we want to do is, okay, so let's see the difference here. So this is the original that was slightly curved and had all those tears. And this is what we've done so far. It's a pretty good improvement so far.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the restoration layer on the bottom right-hand corner, you have your background and restoration. You want to right click, see on the restoration. And we want to convert this to what's called a smart object. Okay, and then some of your old photos, they might have what looks like dust or little hair particles and things like that. If that's a big issue with the photos that you have, you can go over to filter. And let me see, we're gonna go to noise, there it is. And you're gonna go to dust and scratches. Okay, so filter, noise, and dust and scratches. And you'll see like a little teeny tiny close-up window. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and zoom in like on her face. Here we go. And the radius, I mean, you just kind of play with these little thresholds here to see what it, looks like. And usually I think around 30-ish should be fine. The radius no more than maybe, 4 should be sufficient. It just kind of smooths things out and gets rid of any scratches, additional, fine scratches that are on it. And then so now, as much as we love the original colors, we want to go ahead and turn the entire thing black and white. And in order to do that, on the bottom right-hand corner, I don't know if you see this or not. You have these little icons. You have like a trash can. You have this little square with a plus sign, a folder, and this little circle. Okay, that circle is called an adjustment layer. It's half black, half white, and then see adjustment circle. Add contrast by going to okay. Ah, yes, we want to change it to black and white. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go? There you are. Pow. So we want to get rid of the color, and we're going to go back and color it manually. Okay. And once we do that, we want to play with the levels a little bit. So again, the same thing. We're going to hit that little circle that's in the bottom right-hand corner, and then we want to go to levels. Okay, now right now, this is basically what you're looking at in terms of the colors that are in this image, in terms of the, the contrast, the brightness. And so you'll notice that there's 3 little triangles here that you could play with. And watch what happens when I kind of drag it. See that? It gives me a little more contrast, a little more detail, a little more shadow, which is nice. And you could try the other side too, play with that. See, if I go too far this way, it overexposes it. We don't want to do that. So let's try the middle one. Let's play with the middle one. Okay, that makes it a little too dark. Yeah, we are somewhere in the middle there. Let me adjust this. So right around there. What do you think? Is that all right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Just touch. There we go. Great.
Yeah, that looks good.
Thank you. So let's compare again. Okay. Well, everything's in black and white, so. All right, here we go. Now, we want to, right now it's in black and white, and we want to convert it back to what they call CMYK color. And the reason why that is, it just allows the colors to blend better, and it does really well as far as printing goes. I know that from experience as of today, because at lunchtime, once I was done with that photo, I went to go print it out just to see how well it came out, and I was very pleased. So now, in order to do that, let me see, we have to go to the menu bar. Let me see, we have to go to mode. Where'd you go? Mode, go to image, mode, CMYK color. Okay, this little pop-up window will come up here, and it wants to get rid of that original background image, the original photo that we weren't touching. So it's gonna flatten the layers right now. Okay, so now if you notice on the right-hand corner, there's only one layer available. It says background, but essentially this is the one that we're going to be changing and restoring. Okay, so now we need to create, I know it sounds like a lot of work, but we need to create a layer for each color that we're going to be doing on here. So right now we have the flag, for example. There's 3 colors, in that. You got your red, you got your whites, because right now it's like this faded, muted gray. So we're going to kind of punch that up a little bit. We have her hair. We're going to assume that she's a brunette. And then since it's the 4th of July, we're going to make her clothing like, red and blue, or maybe even like a pinkish and blue. We're going to color up the grass. We have no idea what original color that car was. So we'll choose a color for that as well. So for each one of these color schemes, we have to create a separate layer just for that. Does that make sense? Anybody have any questions about that? Let me open up the chat thingy here. How are we doing? It's a lot of information, right?
Yes, confusing.
Don't worry, it'll become, once we get started in creating these layers, it's going to be very repetitious, and it'll hopefully become more reinforced and second nature. Okay, so what should we start with? How about the flag? Why not? So I'm gonna click on the little magnifying glass on the bottom right hand corner. I'm going to zoom in on that area right there. Now keep in mind the original photo is about this size. So even though it might look amateurish when you zoom in and you color this, when you zoom out, the details are going to look really good, as you saw over here. Okay. All right. So in order to do that, we have to go back to, remember that circle that I was telling you in the bottom right-hand corner? We're going to be doing this 100 times. And then we're going to create a solid color. Okay. Now we'll start off maybe with the red color on the stripes. So we'll slide, you see this little slider right here?
Yeah.
You could choose from a range of different colors, and we'll stick to the red spectrum. I think I think that'll do. And we'll hit OK. Now over here on the right-hand side, this is what they call your mask. Okay, first on the left, you have these 2 little color squares right there. It looks black and white. We want to switch those by clicking the little arrow that looks like a curved arrow. Let me switch those because white needs to be on front. And when you click on that on the right-hand side, that little mat where it says color fill, matter of fact, here, let me name that. Each layer, you can name it to whatever you want. So I'm going to call these stripes. There we go. Now, this is one thing I kept forgetting to do when I was practicing with this earlier. Once you click on that, you have to hit Command-I. Okay. Now, one thing I noticed in the tutorial that I learned is that they went over here on the left-hand side and they took a brush. And let me show you why I had an issue with this. And she just started coloring over the area that she needed to color. So let's say I made the brush, right now it's at 23 pixels, maybe make it a little bit smaller. So it's 15 pixels. Let's see what it looks like. That's not bad. Make it just a tiny bit smaller. There we go. And if you just start coloring, it looks very amateurish, doesn't look right? We want the colors to blend and go natural with whatever texture is on the background. So I'm gonna hit Command-Z to undo. Over here on the right-hand side, when we have this layer selected, you see over here this little drop-down menu that says normal. When it's coloring, it's just coloring right on top of it. It's not even seeing the details that are in the background. So in order for the color to go on top, but still see the background, we have to go down to soft light. And what she was doing, she was just kind of just carefully coloring, carefully coloring, carefully coloring. Okay, which is fine. But the problem is it looks, it's not very clean, not very crisp. You're not seeing the details. So I'm going to undo that by hitting Command Z again. And what I like to do, over here on the left-hand side, you have this little tool that's called the lasso tool. Okay, this is like a fail-proof kind of thing. So if you click over here, you're basically just selecting the area that you want to color. And you just make a complete shape. There you go. So I selected that, that stripe right there, but I'm not just going to color one stripe at a time. I want to do all of them. So in order to select more than one area at the same time, you want to keep your finger on the Shift button. I don't know if you're able to see this very clearly, but when I hit Shift, there's a little plus sign that appears right next to the little lasso tool. See that?
Yeah.
Okay, so when I click on that, I want to make another shape. I'm going to select this other stripe here.
Just a quick question. What was the blending mode that you chose again?
Oh, soft light.
Okay, thank you.
Soft light, yes. And you can experiment with any one of these, but I noticed that soft light seems to work best for most coloring. Sometimes you might want to play with either multiply or color burn, but usually soft light is usually the best. But again, play with it, have fun with it. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It means your artwork or your photographs. Now these stripes over here at the bottom, they kind of come down to like almost an invisible point there. So I'm trying to imagine where they would end. And it's okay that they're not perfectly rounded, because when you zoom out, you don't notice those subtle, sharp points. Now, normally I would use the magnetic lasso, and what that does, it allows you to select an object, but it's intuitive. It'll start wrapping itself around areas that have like sharp contrast. So you have like this little dark part right here, and then you have the white part. So the lasso will automatically start selecting this for you as you're moving it along. But because this image is so faded and everything, I don't want it to try to guess where the lines are. So that's why I'm manually putting them in. All right, great. So I have all of the stripes selected, and now I want to go ahead and color them. Okay, you know what? I think I'm going to go with a little bit darker color, and I'll explain why. Because when you overlay it with a soft light, the color is not as bold or as rich as you think it would be. So now I'm going to go ahead and click on the brush. And oops, I forgot to click on that little square there. So this is one thing you notice. Okay, watch. When I had the color selected on the stripes layer, the brush doesn't look like a brush. It has like a little, like a sign that says, do not go or something. It's not allowing me to do that. It's because I haven't selected the mask. This is what they call the mask area. And I'm going to make this brush nice and big. And it doesn't matter that it's outside the lines, because the only thing that's going to be colored is the areas that I selected. So there we go. So I'm just clicking. So I can just keep doing that over and over again. Not bad. Now, again, remember how I was telling you that usually soft light works best? Well, let's go ahead and play with the different types. So I think I did multiply before. No, let's see. Lighten, hard light. Ooh, I like the way that is. So for this example, it looks like hard light works best for the stripes. I think everything else works best for soft light. But do you see the difference between soft light and hard light?
Yeah.
It's a little bit richer color. I like that. So I'm gonna stick with that. Now, to make all these dotted lines go away, again, you can go to Select, Deselect, or you can hit Command D. How? And let's do the same thing for the blue areas where the stars are. Okay, so I have to create a new layer for that. Let's hit the circle again, solid color. Okay, now we're gonna go with blue, maybe like a dark blue, something like that. There we go. And then we have to click on that little mask, Command I. And if you want, when this class is over, I'll be happy to give you like the step-by-step guide that I'm using just to kind of remind myself of what to do, because I know this is a lot of information. And plus, I'm also recording this to the cloud. So once this class is over, you can go back and view it as often as you like for, I think, the next couple of weeks. All right, so we selected that area, and now we want to go to our brush and start coloring. Oh, that didn't work right. Why? Because I left it on normal. Okay, so I'm going to hit Command Z to undo. I was doing this all day earlier today too. So go down here to soft light. Now the color is a little bit lighter and I can still see the stars, which is nice. So I'm just clicking and dragging, clicking and dragging, clicking and dragging. Deselect is Command D. Let's zoom out. Let's see how it looks so far. Pretty cool. Not bad. What do you guys think? Any questions? Everybody good so far?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So now let's talk about skin. Skin is so challenging. Especially when you have, if you notice right here around her hand, I mean, you could barely see, you know, like the edge of her hand and everything. So you kind of have to use your imagination a little bit. Fortunately, when we zoom out, it's not really going to matter if it's not absolutely perfect. Here we go. So I'm going to, I have to create another layer again, circle, solid color. And now for skin tone, I'll probably be closer to the reds maybe. And you always want to go a little bit darker than what you would normally think she might be, or whoever that person is. So I'm thinking maybe like a darker brown. Hit OK, and you start with that. Again, you have to click on the mask first and Command I, pow. Now, I don't want to risk coloring outside of the line, so I'm just going to select her arm, her entire arm. Let me drag this down just a touch. There we go. So I think this is a cutoff sleeve shirt. So I'm just manually selecting right here. And this is how you can suck up a lot of your time by just selecting every object that's in a photo. Now, what's great about using the soft light is that when you start coloring over it, the richness of the color usually falls, becomes richest in the shadow areas of any image. It just does it naturally. And the parts that are lightest, that's where the color is going to be lightest. All right, so I got her arm, and why don't I get her face while I'm at it? So in order to add another selection, I have to keep my finger on the Shift button. If you notice, there's a little plus sign that appears when I hit Shift. Keep your finger down on Shift. And I think that is a color, so we're going to go with that. Select around her face, go below her hairline here. I always wondered how those people in Walgreens and CVS restored photos, like just from something that was completely destroyed and just made it look so good. And I have like a small inkling of how that's done. There we go. And while we're at it, we'll just select this arm too.
There's someone who's a member of the Genealogical Society that does this, and she's excellent at it, restoring old photos.
Yeah. That's one thing. I mean, I've gotten really into since working at the library was just genealogy in general and using the Ancestry Library Edition. Yeah. And it's nice that you can upload photos that you can share with family members, in different countries. I have a lot of family in Puerto Rico, and just that hurricane hit not that long ago, and a few of their houses were completely destroyed, including everything that was in it, including old photos, things that we'll never be able to access again. My family's been in Puerto Rico for the past, a little over 200 years now, according to our family tree. All right, so we selected her arms, her face, and I'm gonna zoom out just a little bit. There we go, so you can see what's going on here. And now we wanna go ahead and hit the paintbrush, and it can make it nice and large, doesn't matter. Oops, see? Wanna know why that didn't look right? Because I left it under normal. So to undo this, do you remember what the shortcut is? Command Z, as in, but in the regular PC, it would be Control Z, but Command Z to undo. Okay, so now I'm gonna go over here and let me turn on the light in this room because the timer went out. I forget it, who cares? And I want to go to soft light and start coloring it in. And that is not going as rich as I thought it would be. So let me see what's going on here. Right now, at the very top, I have it under normal. The opacity is 38. Let's try 50%, 55%. Why not? Okay, that's a little better. Stand by. I'm just gonna turn on this light. There we go. I have to make sure I keep track of my time here because I know time can fly very easily when you're playing with Photoshop. Okay, so that looks like that's about as dark as it's gonna get with this particular color. Now, let's say, you know what, you did the skin tone and for whatever reason, you're not thrilled with it, okay? Let me zoom out just a little bit more. And what you can do is, if you click on the color of that layer, matter of fact, I forgot to rename it. So we're gonna call this one skin. And what was the blue one? The blue one was the flag, or we'll call it stars. Okay, so if I go back to skin and I click on that little color square, that brown one, double click on that, I can play with the tone by kind of, see if I can find a more realistic looking tone. Matter of fact, here, let me hit OK and then deselect that because it's kind of bugging me a little bit. Here we go. Okay, so that's looking kind of close. I know it looks funny because the only thing is colored is her skin, but once we do her hair and her clothing and everything else, everything will start falling together. Yeah, I think that'll do. All right, so let's get her legs out of the way. Here we go. And we're still in that layer. So again, if you're making selections, like say, I want all the skin to be the same tone, just make sure that you select that layer on the bottom right-hand corner that says skin. And she has shoes on, so I gotta make sure I go around that area. And it's kind of hard to see the edges around here where the grass is. There we go. And to add the other leg, I have to keep my finger on the shift button where it causes that little plus sign to appear so I can select more than one item at a time. Otherwise, if you don't hit the shift button, that original selection will disappear and begin a new one. And that's frustrating, especially when you have a very detailed object like this. It's not perfect squares or triangles, right angles and stuff. There we go. Great. Let's zoom out. Okay, so we have that selected, and let's go to our paintbrush on the left-hand side. Where'd you go? Where'd you go? There you are. And okay. So again, I have the same problem. I hit a paintbrush, and it looks like a stop sign. It's because I didn't select the mask that's over here on the right-hand side, that little black square that's next to the brown color. And now I can start coloring it in. All right. That's looking good. Great, great, great. Thrilled. All right, deselect. All right, so we got the skin. What should we work on next? How about the shirt? And zoom in. There we go. Remember, you have to create a separate layer for each color. circle, solid color. And for the shirt, I think we said we're gonna go with red. Let's see what this looks like and hit OK. Now to make that go away, we have to click on the mask and hit Command I. How? Now, just so that we don't color outside the line by accident, we want to select the area. So we go to our lasso tool. Now, she has a sash on right now. So I want to make sure I go around that. I don't know what color that is. I'm going to assume that it's white. It looks like it says Florida. So I guess she's Miss Florida, USA. Okay, so I got that side. To add the other section, keep your finger on the Shift button. And let's get around this collar area. I don't know where the edge is on that sash, so I'm going to try to guess. Around her shoulder. I know it's not absolutely perfect, but I will fix that. Okay, so if you ever come in a situation where you see over here on the part of her shoulder, some part of it is not selected, again, keep your finger on the Shift button to add more. So I'm gonna select the area that I've missed and just make a complete shape. Let go, pow. There we go, and oh, you know what? I missed a section down here by her hand, and that sash is a tiny little triangle here, sort of. All right, so I have my mask selected. I'm gonna go to the brush and we're gonna start coloring. Oh, look at that, it doesn't look good. Why? Because I forgot to get out of the normal mode. So Command Z for undo. See, this is a great thing about that I'm making all these mistakes, so that way you don't have to make them later. Or if you do make them, at least you know what you did wrong. So we have to go to soft light and let's start coloring. Yeah, it's not bad. Keep coloring, 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 coloring. Now, sometimes I just, no matter how, I'm trying to get a nice, red going on here, maybe even a pink. But if you notice, if I go too dark, it comes like gray and faded. I don't like that. So I'm trying to get like a nice rich red over here. Now, if you're not happy with that, here you go. No matter how many times you try to color over it, and this is about as dark as it's gonna get. Okay, let me show you another little trick. So Command D to deselect that. Over here at oh, I forgot to rename it. We're gonna call this one shirt. Okay. If I were to right click on this layer, and this is a fun little, easy little trick, just right click and duplicate that layer, makes it just, and then it's gonna ask you to give it a name. I'm just gonna call it shirt copy, and pow, it makes it a little bit darker. Now, what you can do is you can play with how dark this is. Now, where it says shirt copy on the bottom right-hand side, you have these two options over here. You have opacity and you have fill. So let's play with that. If I drag that little triangle, you see how rich and dark I can make it. Maybe I'll leave the opacity alone. Let's try fill. Okay, that's not bad. Let me zoom out. Let's see how it looks. Okay, and then again, you can play with the fill a little bit. And let me see if I can change that color just a little, just a touch. Yeah, that'll do. And the light in the study room just keeps shutting off, but that's okay. All right, so do you see how I did that? When I added, all I did was right click on an existing color, and I just duplicated the layer. So that way it just makes the color a little bit more rich. Now, if you want to see what it is without it, you just hit that little eyeball next to your layer there, and it'll disappear. There you go. All right, so now we want to go ahead and color her shorts. We have to create a new layer. Hit that little circle there, go to solid color. And since we're being patriotic, why don't we make her pants blue? like a light blue. Okay. Again, let's click on the mask, Command I. We want to select the area that we want to color by clicking on our little lasso tool here. There's another little section to the right of her sash that I want to get to. So I got to keep my finger on the shift button so I can add more than one selection. And it's so hard to see those little details. There we go. Great. Let's go back to our paintbrush. And we're going to start coloring. Oh, see, I made the mistake again. Undo. I have to change this filter. I want to go to soft light and now color. Oh, that's better. Now let's zoom out, see what it looks like. Yeah, we're getting there, little by little. Just get her skin tone look natural to you guys. Looks okay?
Yeah.
Let me stop sharing the screen for a second because I'm actually curious to see how many people are here today. I know I have to keep track of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Thank you guys, you're awesome. Okay, good. So we colored her, we colored her skin, we colored the flag. What do we do next? You want to do grass? We're going to go to create a new layer. So we hit on the circle, we're going to hit solid color. And let's get into the green areas. Nice dark, rich, grassy color. Hit OK. Now we have to click on the mask and hit Command I. And let's get our trusty lasso tool here. And I'm going to select those shapes. There's a little bit easier to select because it's nice right angle, you know, straight lines and angles and things. It's just going around the child that's a little more challenging.
So is this going to eliminate the shadowed grass that's a different shade?
One more time, please.
Going to eliminate the shadowed grass that's a different shade?
Well, see, that's why we're doing the that layer where it says light. Let me go back over here. Soft light, because that allows us to it lightly layers. It puts the color right on top of it, so you still see the original shadow. So you don't have to recreate it.
Got it.
So let me start that again. Sorry about that. Yeah, I got interested in this. My great grandmother just passed away a few years ago, and we had this family photo that was just again faded in the sunlight because it was right next to a window. And thank goodness my brother is a professional graphics art designer, and he just made it really pop. And he just did a wonderful job just using Photoshop. The thing is, I'm using a mouse here, and another thing that you can use that I think we have in the Pop-Up Media Lab is like a little tablet that comes with the computer, and you have like a little pen that you could use just like as if you were drawing. Lots of little details here. I gotta go around that tree. And here's the fun part because it's just straight lines. There we go. And you know what, why don't I select this other grass over here too? There's a tiny little sidewalk there that I'm trying to avoid. And there's a little piece of grass right there in the triangle of her arm, her bent arm there. Don't want to forget that. There we go. And let's go ahead and go to our paintbrush. And let's remember to put the right filter this time. Instead of using normal, we're going to go to soft light. And you know what? Let's make this brush nice and big. There we go. coloring in there, and I know it looks a little artificial. So we're gonna play with the tone of the grass until it has something a little bit more realistic.
Yeah, but that's good.
Yeah, but like I hope that answers your question. But it keeps the original shadows. It just lightly paints the color over it, but it blends in, so that way you still see the original texture that's behind it. So I'm gonna click over here on the right hand side where it says color fill. We're gonna name this one grass. There we go. And let's open up that color scheme here. Let's play with this. All right, that's a little dark. What do you think? Is that all right?
Yeah,
Right
looks
there?
good. Looks
Okay.
good.
Good. We're gonna hit OK. And deselect by Command D. There we go. All right. We're getting there. How about this tree? Let's zoom in on this tree. Okay. Now, if you remember the original photo, do I have the original photo here? Can you see my desktop here, just out of curiosity? Yes?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Notice the tree is completely discolored and everything. There's like one shade over here, different shade there, different shade there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make everything the same shade. Okay, so before we do that, we need to go to the lasso tool. We're going to select all the way around it. Now this one, I actually could have used the magnetic tool. Matter of fact, let me do that. Okay, so right over here, the same button. If you keep your finger down on the left button, you'll see other options that they have here. You have a regular lasso tool, a polygonal lasso tool, which I've been using the whole time, or a magnetic lasso tool. Okay, what's so special about this one is that the tree is nice and dark where you have a really light background, so it can see the edge of this tree very easily. So if I click here, I'm just moving the mouse without clicking. It's automatically guessing where the edges of this this object is. Okay, every once in a while I'll do a click just to let them know is that yes, you're going the right direction. Keep going in this area. There you go. And I'm coming to the car, so I want to let it know that I just want it around the tree and not around the tire, because the tires has a nice dark contrast just like the tree. Okay. So if you notice, it's automatically making like a ton of little points all around the tree, and I'm not clicking anything yet. Oops. Sometimes you have to kind of force it. There you go. Just dragging, 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 click, drag, 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 click. All right, so we have the tree selected. And you know what I forgot to do? Darn it. I've got to create a new layer. So on the bottom right-hand corner, let's hit the circle. Let's go to solid color. And since we're already in the red area, that's where the browns usually are. So let's try something like that. There we go. We're going to click on the mask over here on the right-hand side. Matter of fact, let's rename that to tree. So we know what color this is for. Click on the mask, Command I. All right, so let's select this one more time. I'm just going to use the lasso tool because it's faster, and I'm not going to do it perfectly because I know we're running out of time. Pow, pow. All right, we're going to go back to our brush, and don't forget to change the layer from normal to soft light. So I'm just going to color this area. Look at that. Pow. Not bad, not bad. So keep clicking and dragging, click and drag, click and drag. Okay, again, if you're not happy with this color or you're not happy with this shade, you can go ahead and double click on the color on the right-hand side for the layer. And you can make it darker, you can make it lighter, whatever you'd like to do.
That's good.
Right there, yes. Okay, now to deselect, Command D. There we go. Let's zoom out and see how it's looking. All right, it's getting there. Nice, nice, nice. All right, what color would you like to make the car?
Yellow.
Hello? Okay, so again, we have to create a new layer. For every color, new layer. Let's go to
Wasn't it blue in the original picture?
Oh, no, that's what I did and everything. I don't
Oh,
know
okay.
what color it was, so I just colored it blue. But you can make it whatever you want. You can make it hot rod red if you want to. That's the great thing about Photoshop. You can manipulate anything. You can make somebody skinnier. You can make somebody, 10 years younger. That's the question I get the most. Can you just make me skinnier? It's like I'm still trying to work on that myself, but for real. Okay, so we wanted yellow, you said. All right.
Or whatever.
Sorry?
I said, or whatever, whatever's easy.
Yellow works. All right, so again, we have to click on the mask, Command I. This is a great thing about doing so many layers at once. It's just repetition and everything. Hopefully it'll become second nature and reinforced. So I'm gonna go ahead and select the areas that are of the car. So I'm just clicking around, clicking around. I might skip the bumper because the bumper is a different shade. Definitely gonna skip the tires. There you go. And you have to make it one complete shape. So wherever you started, the end has to click on it. So that way it closes out that selection. Now to add the rest of the car, keep your finger on the shift button. So you see that little plus sign. There you go. There we go. And you know what? They have these little frames right here that I want to get also. And there you go, one complete shape. Excellent. All right, now let's go to our paintbrush and let's make sure that we go from normal to soft light and let's color it in. Ooh, not bad. Looks good. Now, again, if you want a more rich color and it's not giving you a richer color, there's two ways you can do it. You can double click on that little color right there. You could play with it. And if you don't like that, you can leave it back to where it was. And right click on that layer and just go ahead and duplicate it. So you basically put in two colored layers right on top of each other so you can maybe get a little bit more color. See that?
Mm.
So let me zoom out so you can see the difference. That's not bad. Let me deselect. All right, so you can, if you hit the eyeball, you can make that second layer disappear. So do you like it more faded or do you like it more rich?
I think faded goes more with the other color.
Okay, that works. There you go. It's 6:30. I could technically stay until 7 o'clock. Do you want me to just keep going? Or you want me to show you how to flatten it, save it, and then use it for whatever you need?
Will you be offering this class again?
I would be happy to if you'd like me to.
Well, sure, because it's, it takes a while to do anything.
It
So
does. It really does. It
we
really
want to
does.
learn.
So
It's not gonna stick in our noggins that,
right
away.
until you actually get your hands on the machine itself and the program and start playing with it. So let me go ahead and continue a little bit. So let's go ahead and get these bushes and the trees out of the way. Okay. Let's see. So we have to create a new layer, solid color, and let's get a nice little deep green here. How about this over here? Why not? And we have to click on the mask, Command I, and let's go ahead and select these bushes. So don't worry about being absolutely perfect. I want you to play with it, have fun with it, make as many mistakes as you can because that's the only way you're going to learn. In my opinion, it's the best way to learn. I know it looks like it's going to be all jagged and everything, but again, when you zoomed out and you saw the after image in the beginning of the class, you weren't able to tell all these different jagged edges when it comes to the color. Okay, so now let's go ahead and go to our brush, our paintbrush. And we don't want to do normal, remember, because it just completely drowns out the image itself. So Command Z to undo. Let's go from normal down to soft light and color. Not bad. What I forgot to do is select the other bushes too. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go back to our lasso tool, hit the shift button to add more selections. As you can see, this is very repetitive. Maybe it's kind of relaxing because you're just doing something artistic. It's just like getting a coloring book. Really? Somebody has a TV on. There we go. And yeah, now let's go ahead and select these trees while we're at it. Bob Ross would say the happy trees.
Somebody needs to mute
Yeah,
themselves.
somebody mute the microphone. It's a little loud.
I don't think it's me. Let me see.
Uh-oh.
It looks like Barbara.
I'm here. Barbara's here. I'm watching.
Okay, Barbara. Is your television on?
I have the mute off, but I have the video. I don't, I keep the video on, off. What I asked was, since the girl is the most important part of keeping the picture,
Yeah.
should we be working on her face and making it clearer, or that sort of thing? Isn't that the most important thing you would go to first?
Yes, you could absolutely do that. And this image right here is, I believe it was about a 3.5 inch by 3.5 inch square, the original photo. So when you zoom in, even though it doesn't look quite perfect, yeah, you can absolutely play with this and just focus on that. So let's do that. Let's create a new layer, solid color. And let's say we want to do her, did we do her hair? Stand by. Let's do her crown because click on the mask, Command I, and okay, so we did her face, we didn't do her hair. That's okay, no worries. Now, sometimes you'll have kind of like this image where the details are a little bit blurry. There is a tool on the left-hand side that I'm going to show you in just a moment called, I think it's the burn tool. I'll show you in just a second. So select the crown, get on the paintbrush. Let's change this to soft light, and let's color. It's not dark enough. Let's play with this.
Barbara, you need to mute yourself, please.
Yeah, go ahead and mute your microphone if you wouldn't mind, please. There we go, good job. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and duplicate this. Let's see if we can get a richer color. Okay, it's a little better. And then, okay, so right over here, if you look at her eyes, you look at her nose and everything, that's not very detailed. Okay, one thing you could do, you could just do overall in general, like make everything a little bit more detailed by, let me zoom in. You go to filter and let me see, you can go to sharpen and you can sharpen edges. Let me see, well, let me do it. To fill this layer, it must be rasterized. Okay, cancel. I might have to select the image first. Go down here, select on the background, filter, sharpen. Well, let me do it. I think it just did automatically. Okay, so let's see how that looked like. So if I do, let me zoom in a little bit, undo. Sharpen wasn't very detailed. So let's try it again. filter, sharpen, sharpen more. Okay, so when I did sharpen more, if you notice, it added some unwanted texture. So let me undo that so you can see the difference here. See how it's nice and smooth now, but when I did the sharpen more, it gave it too much texture. So maybe we want to just do it a little bit, go down to sharpen and just hit sharpen by itself. Okay, so it's a little bit. All right, great. The other thing we can do is over here on the left-hand side, we have this little tool here called the burn tool. Okay, use this sparingly because it might give you too much color and detail. And what that does, it takes like the dark parts of the image and it just makes it more rich, whatever it is. Okay, so I'm gonna make this, here we go. I'm gonna make this brush a little bit smaller. It was at 70, I'll make it 31, why not? And if I just click around like her eyes, for example, and I click around these little shadows around her nose and her lips, maybe the edges of her ears, just gives a little bit more detail. Maybe I'll do it on her hair too, why not? Just a little bit more detail. Okay, now over here on the right-hand side, if you wanna see what those changes looked like, if you go to history, this shows you how many times I clicked on the burn tool. Okay, so if I go up towards the top, here we go. Now look at the difference of the face. Okay, so there's that, but when I hit burn tool all those times, watch again. See, it's just a little bit more detail, which it doesn't need to be that detailed because, you know, she's essentially very small in the image. And actually, if I'm being honest, her eyes look a little creepy to me, so I'm gonna undo that. Now she looks like something off of a horror movie. Okay, let's try that again, but just not so hard. Let's go to burn tool. Right now at the very top. So anytime you click on any one of these images on the left, so for example, you have your paintbrush, for example. If you don't want it to flow at 100%, like 100, like opacity, right now I normally have it around 55, so that way it just doesn't just dump all the color all at once. I want it to go kind of gradually. You can do the same thing for the burn tool, where it's just not so strong. Maybe I'll leave it like at, I don't know, 25%. Okay, and then just kind of play with the burn just a little bit. Just see if I can get a little bit more detail on those shadows. Okay, maybe in the shadows of her hands there. And I definitely want to make those shadows over here on the Florida thing, because Florida is not coming out very pronounced. So let me make this exposure a little bit more. A little bit darker. Okay, let's go ahead and color her hair. So I have to create a new layer, solid color. And what do you guys think? Should she be brunette, blonde, raven? Oops, cancel. Let me go up here somewhere.
Looks like she's got dark hair.
Black hair? Okay, so let's give her black hair.
Dark.
Okay, we're gonna hit okay. Now we have to click on the mask, hit Command I, and let's go ahead and select her hair. It's funny how our hair color kind of changes over time. I had these friends from Trinidad. When they were all babies, they were all just bleach blonde hair and everything. As soon as they became teenagers, they were all brunette. There we go. And so hard to tell with some of these old photos. All right, so we selected her hair and we have to go to the paintbrush, and we already selected the color. We chose black, and oh, I left it at normal. So let's go back over here and change this filter here. We're going to go to soft light, and I'm just going to lightly click on it, lightly click, 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 click. Okay. Let me see. What could I do to make it better? If I change the opacity, will that make a difference? No. All right, so why don't we do this? Let's deselect this and let's go ahead and duplicate this layer to make it just a little bit darker. Yep, I want to leave it as, there we go. All right, that's okay. What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's zoom out, see how it's coming. All right, we're getting there. All right, so you get the idea. We are running out of time, so I'm gonna go ahead and start wrapping this up. But yes, I will be happy to do this again next month. And we could use a different photo, we could use the same photo. Now, if you notice, we have multiple layers here. We have to flatten all these layers right on top of each other so we can save it as a JPEG or a TIFF. Okay, in order to do that, you're gonna go over here where it says layers. Yes, you go to the layers option. And the very bottom, you have an option that says flatten image. Now look what happens to the layers on the right-hand corner. When you click on that, and it says, do you want to discard any hidden layers? Yes. There you go. Now we only have one layer. File, save as. We'll save it on the computer for now, and we'll save it on the desktop. And we're going to call this Missy after. Save. It's going to ask you what option in terms of quality do you want? Do you want it to be, lowest quality? I always save it on the highest quality possible where it says 12, and we're going to hit OK. And there you go. Restored. Okay. So in this one, I made her brunette and everything, and I did play with the contrast a little bit more and made darker colors. But you see what's possible here. It's definitely an improvement from what we had before.
Yours looks better.
There we go. From that to, where'd you go? There you go, to that. Definitely an improvement. All right, any questions, comments, sarcasm?
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you guys for coming. And then I'll try it again for next month. We'll try a different photo, and we'll see what we can do with it. All right.
Super. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Louis.
Great.
All right.
Thanks
Stay
very
safe.
much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.